Graham was kind enough to let us use the Scots College mobile app as our demonstration app here. So for those people that are joining the webinar or watching it at a later date, one of the things we wanted to do was make sure that you didn't have to necessarily have a full Digistorm app to kind of get the most out of this. So we've got two different versions of this integration. We've got a kind of a bare bones, stripped down light version of the integration, which essentially allows a school to have a dedicated sports app. Now, having that dedicated sports app makes sure that you don't kind of have to bring in other stakeholders or bring in new processes. But for those Digistorm schools who do have an Edu app with us, it's simply added as an additional tile. So you can see here with the Scots College app, we've got all the other modules that are pulling from the likes of Synergetic and Schoolbox and Digistorm. But we've actually added this sports button here. Okay, so once a parent or student are logged in, they then can click into there and view the schedule and teams pertaining to their children. Okay, so I've clicked into the schedule and that'll bring up our calendar view. So for those schools that use the Digistorm app, this will be a very, very familiar view for you. So that'll just actually isolate those sporting activities on that month. Now, you can see here, I'm just going to click on Saturday the 18th because I can see that there are two events happening pertaining to my children, or if I was a parent, or myself if I was a student. And we can see student A there and student B. Okay, so if I want to see what's happening with student B, I can open that up. And because that event has happened in the past, that'll actually show the result of what happened on that Saturday. So we can see that the Scots College took over Riverview and won 68-57, so they got the win. And they can go down as well and view. Again, the 7As also came through with the win, 49-26. But within this view, you can also check out what's happening on a week-to-week view as well. So a lot of people actually will use it on a week-to-week view or on a daily view as well. So the app will actually remember what your preferences are. So every time you jump in there, you can see it in the view that you do like. Next up, we've got the teams. So teams will bring through any teams that you or your children belong to. Okay, so for example, if your children are in part of the football, they're in basketball, they're in baseball, whatever it may be, this will actually feed through here and show them. So I can view a schedule pertaining to those individual sports and those sports teams. Now, I'll pass it, and I won't pass over to Sam yet, but he will also explain to you further that while we're showing you sports here, this is designed for any extracurricular management. Okay, so it doesn't have to be sports. It can be performing arts, it can be music, orchestras, strings, whatever it may be. This will all feed through into this platform. On there, I can view my basketball. So I can see for the team 7A, it's showing all the upcoming events. And if I click into one as well, it'll tell me exactly where the court is. It'll bring through any staff associated with that event. It'll have any notes from the coach, and also give an address location to the very point. And I believe that we can actually pinpoint individual fields and locations as well directly within the system, which Sam can touch on in a bit. So as you can see, I can see all upcoming schedules. I can view corresponding information about that, and I can go and view past wins and losses as well. And this will bring through not only the fixtures itself, but any training activities that are occurring. So you can see here we've got the game on Saturday, but we've got training on Friday and Wednesday as well. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pass it over to Sam for the sharing to show actually how the push notification component of the application works. So if you just want to take over there.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. It's great. So I'll just share my screen. Can everybody see this?
Perfect.
Perfect. So the first thing I'll say, something, Graham, we were chatting about the other day, what I think is really helpful in terms of the app integration is that, especially for schools like Scots who already have Clipboard and Digistorm, and for schools that adopt it too, it's absolutely... So Graham, for example, we were chatting about the other day, Scots has a Clipboard account that looks a lot like this. This is Clipboard College, our test organization. And Graham and his sports admins and managers and co-curricular staff members, they're already putting all the sessions and trainings and performances in this schedule anyway. And this syncs up with the SIS, which is Synergetic at the school. So all the data is already in here. All 400 coaches at Scots are already using the Clipboard app on their phone to record scores, injuries, add training sessions, and mark roles. And provided that's all done, which is, you know, made pretty simple, the Digistorm app, once you turn that integration on, it just works. So in order for Scots to now communicate with 4,000 or 5,000 students and parents through the Digistorm app, it requires absolutely no more work. And I think that's a pretty happy sight for all of, you know, extracurricular staff members. So what I'll do, I've come into Clipboard College, which is our test account, and I'll show you how the push notifications work. And I think this is one of the most exciting parts of the integration, because unlike previously, I remember back when I was at school, and a lot of you would have experienced the same thing, wet weather lines were how traditionally you get wet weather information. I know some schools in New Zealand actually use a radio station where they listen in. I don't know, Chris, if you experienced that back in your school days.
That was great, yeah.
Look, either way, you have to sit there for about 15 or 20 minutes to hear that the 9Cs basketball, you know, has been called off. Whereas with Clipboard, now all my sessions are in here. So I'm going to go ahead. My son is in the 7Cs and Ds rugby. So I'll go ahead to next and and D session Clipboard. From this session page, we can see all the details about this 7Cs and Ds training session. So we can see the venue, the time, the teams. I can go in there and I can see the team list, the coach, telling us that the staff will be reminded the day before, and all the other information like marking the role, recording an incident. If I just come in here now and I simply cancel this session, and now this notification works if you cancel the session or you update it in any way, such as changing the time, changing the location, or any other notable change that students and parents need to know about. But for example, we know next Monday it's going to be raining, so we click cancel. Clipboard tells us that it's going to notify the staff by SMS and email, so that the coaches will get notified that it's off. But more relevant is students and parents will be notified via Digistorm immediately of this change. And I go ahead and I click we've cancelled this game, wait for that to go through, tells us that the notifications were sent, and then in a second, it should pop up on my phone telling me that that game has been cancelled. And there you go. You can see that push notification instantly, which is pretty amazing. And it's personalized as well. So if the E's and F's were cancelled, if I'm in the C's and D's, I'm not getting a notification because I don't need to know about that. So I'm really excited about that push notification. It works extremely seamlessly. And like Graham, you know, from your perspective, pretty exciting because it's really no more work to make that seamless communication piece work really well.